So welcome everyone. This is one of our lunch and learns that we do more often than not with micronauts who already finished the Microverse program, who got jobs and are working, doing something exciting, professionally speaking. And we try to bring as many perspectives as possible because at Microverse, we work with students from every corner in the world. We have students in 118 countries today, I think. And no story is like the rest. Everyone's story is different. So we try to give everyone as many perspectives as possible so that you can find one that is that you feel more identified with. And I'm really excited to share Jack's story today. Jaak is originally from Estonia, okay? But he's now working for a company after Microverse that is based in the Netherlands. And we're gonna be talking about that as well. But that's not all. Jaak comes with not a computer science degree. He actually dropped out of college. We'll be talking about that as well. A lot of people are curious, do you need a computer science degree to get a great job? And I think, Jaak, you're the perfect, example. And no, you don't need that. Jaak didn't have professional coding experience and he has an amazing job now. I'm really excited. I think people will feel really inspired by that. And the company Jaak is working for right now, it's a super, international company with headquarters in the Netherlands, but, have 900, I think, team members in a lot of different parts. So we'll be talking about that as well. How many people?
There's more than 4,000 people working right now.
4,000 people. Yeah. Oh, wow. So the information I had was probably, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
They had like 3 years ago or something. I don't exactly remember because as my memory is as it is, but they had 3 years ago, little less than 1,000 people working, and they're just growing and growing and growing past few years. So yeah, they're now they're pretty big company and having offices all around the world.
Wow. And how are you working with people from many parts of the world?
Yeah.
Where are your coworkers? The ones that you know.
Yeah, a lot of people are obviously from here, but yeah, there's even people from USA who have been flown over here just because they're working as a front ender. So they still when the offices start to open up, they still would like that people still would work from the office mostly. Okay. But yeah, so even though that they have they have 3 offices in USA as well, if I'm correct, at least couple of ones.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so even though that people, they come from countries where the offices are, but if they want to work as a front-end developer, then there's two centers of those places. One is, I think, Buenos Aires is one
in Argentina,
group.
Right?
Yeah, some one center of front-end development team, and then the other center is here in the Netherlands, Hilversum.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's exciting. So we will be talking about how did you get that job and all of that, but I want to start from the beginning. How did you get into coding?
Well, for me, it was when I was in the end of high school, kind of I first wanted to go study to be what's the word, lawyer.
A lawyer. Oh wow.
Yeah,
so different.
Exactly. Yeah, but I was always good with more subjects math and physics and things so writing stuff and kind of writing essays, it wasn't my thing. But obviously when you see the USA movies, the cross-examination and things like that, but yeah, even our courts, they are not the way over here as they are over there. So it's not even so fun work, I would say, overall. But yeah, in the end of high school, I kind of understand it. Okay, that's not the road where I can actually excel. So I started kind of looking out, what to do, what could I do really good, and what still I would like to do. So I didn't have any previous coding experience or at all, but I kind of looked into that. Salaries are good when you're going to be a computer programmer, and I always liked math as my favorite subject. So it's kind of if you're not coder before, like they always say, oh, it's like a math, but later on you kind of understand it. It's not the case. Most I would say like it depends what type of programming you're going to do in the future. But yeah, you don't have to be like really good with math to be a programmer, like per se. Obviously, it helps depending what you want to do, graphics programmer or something like that. You have to know math then. But yeah, like web development, it's not so important. So yeah, I just picked like informatics then. Went to university, and like it took me like, I would say like first semester to even like understand like the concept of programming and writing like the first like hello worlds, because we learned to code like in C, just a normal C in university. Then next semester we had like some base course in Java. And yeah, so those were like those two languages what I learned like in university. Then when I had like half of my bachelor's done, I kind of like had to quit my my college because of like personal reasons. I moved to Finland to work over there. At first I did like I stayed like, I don't know exactly how to say it in English, like long distance learning or something like that. When you have like in like every after 2 weeks you go to school like for a few days, and you kind of like show what you have done and things like that. But yeah, it didn't really work out because like you have to have like really good memory for that to do. And yeah, that was like the main reason as well. Like I didn't anymore like felt like I want to go through college, because I did all the subjects which were like kind of interesting to me. And especially I wanted to like study informatics to be a programmer. But yeah, when already like in bachelor's, I had all the programming like subjects done, and I still didn't know much about programming, I would say. So
So you never graduated from college, right? You dropped
yeah,
out before the end.
Yeah.
Was that a problem to get a job?
Not really. I mean, obviously there's like some like job applications where they want like, okay, you have to have a degree in order to apply for that job. But I would say like, and especially like I would say like when I was in college like 10 years ago, then it was like more a case like that you have to have a degree.
That has changed.
Yeah, but it has changed a lot because like there's like just so big vacuum for software developers that, I mean, like the skill is more important than the actual degree nowadays.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the companies, like the big tech companies, have already like recognized publicly that they're no longer asking for a bachelor's degree or computer science degree, because they just need great developers. They don't need people with a title. So so you dropped out of college for personal reasons. Then you went to work in Finland for a little bit. What happened between that and Microverse? Like, you know, how did you find Microverse, and how did you get there?
Yeah, it was like kind of funny because like I think there's like I find Microverse in through like Facebook targeted advertisement. And I think it kind of came into my view because I did like Ruby on Rails course from Skill Crush. I mean, like, but it didn't work really out for me because like I kind of went through it. But yeah, in the end, like I had created like one application on web, like which has like database. You could have like users, register users, and have followers. Like it was like really scaled down, like Instagram or something, I guess. So, and you kind of like, because like there's not like in Microverse that you're like actually trying to do something from ground up. First, okay, you're going to like kind of look how things are supposed to supposed to be done, and then you have your own personal projects what you have to do like from scratch. So in Skill Crush, it wasn't like that. You kind of had like, you always could like kind of look into it, how you should like solve that problem, and that was like basically it. So yeah, I went through like skill crash, didn't like exactly know how to code in, like how to create like full stack web applications, but I already knew like Ruby and Rails. Like, so yeah, I think like, because like you have the main stack is in Ruby and Rails. So probably because I have like Googled a lot of about like Ruby and Rails. So that's why I think like Facebook, like the algorithm,
Probably.
yeah, kind of. And like I remember like it was like before I joined, it was like more than a year ago when I first had that
Oh,
in my,
wow. Okay.
yeah, in my Facebook like feed. So I was like kind of, I first went through it, did the trials. At that time I haven't coded like, I don't know, year or two or something. But yeah, I managed to like solve those like four coding challenges, which were kind of what you had to do, even like to kind of get into the first trials of with 3 real persons. I kind of got those done in the right time. So yeah, I got in, but yeah, I wasn't able to join. And at first I was like, okay, this can't be like a real thing, like boot camp where you can join. It's online and you don't actually have to pay before you actually land the job. I was like, okay, this can't be real. Like this is like too good to be true. And I was like really like skeptical about it at first. But yeah, then I was like kind of thinking, it's kind of like, yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, like the program in the long run, it makes a lot of sense, you know, in that way, like, because yeah. So when I like saw that, got in, then I started like planning, because like, I'm always like being independent. I don't have any like support from my family or anything. So I had to like, okay, I bought an apartment, so I have a bank loan for that and things like that. So I was okay. I have to, well, I had like pretty good salary, so it wasn't like much of a problem in that sense. But yeah, I still like had to like stack some money on my bank account.
You were in Finland or you were back in Estonia?
Yeah, I was like working in Finland, but it's kind of like I because my work as a renderer, it's like seasonal job over here, because like in winter time you can't do it when it's cold.
What is a renderer?
Renderer is like who like you know who plasterer is, who does the
Oh, for the
house walls inside, like.
oh, okay. Okay, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but I used to work, renderer is somebody who does the outside walls of houses, like facade.
Huh. Okay. Perfect. Thanks for teaching me something new.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, I worked as a renderer, like well, I've been working like, I don't know, in total, because I worked before university like a couple of years, and like then I started working after university as well. So yeah, that has been my main profession, I would say, throughout my professional career till this time. So yeah, I started like, okay, like planning my way out, like saving money, like in order to be able to like kind of support myself throughout the Microverse. And after like, because yeah, I was like kind of, and I always like to have a little bit extra. So it's,
Right. That's a great idea.
yeah. So
How many months of financial support did you plan for?
a year.
A year. Okay.
I planned for a year. But yeah, because at least, but yeah, I managed to stack more money, so that's why I didn't have any problems with money in that sense. Like,
Good. Your financial planning, it's an important piece
yeah,
that we encourage everyone to do well. And now I don't know if you did it, Jack, but now once you get accepted, we ask you to complete a financial plan as part of the process before you join, so that you think about these steps, because many people don't put too much thought into this, and it's the reason number one why some people have like drop out in the middle, and it's always really sad to see that happening.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm seeing some of the questions from the Q&A. Someone is asking, how old are you?
33 years old.
33, like me. Yeah. Great, that's a great age.
I guess it's.
and then when did you start Microverse?
I started Microverse a year before last year, 26th of November, I think, or
November 2019.
Okay. But yeah,
yeah?
maybe. Yeah,
I
maybe
think
it was.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, 2019, yeah, the year, but 25th or 26th of November I
Okay.
started.
And then when did you finish?
I finished my technical curriculum like in the first week of June. I got
Okay.
like the last project like submitted in the half of May, but I had to like change like things like over and over again, like and then I finally kind of got it like submitted like last time, and it was like all good. I think like 5th or 6th of June or something like that last year.
And then how long since that happened until you got your job, and what happened in the middle?
Okay, so yeah, because like I worked as a renderer, like yeah, my work like kind of yearly schedule is built up in that way that a 7 months work when it's like warm, and during the winter time like 5 months, then I'm resting, I'm not doing anything, like, or if I want to do work some other job or something like that. So yeah, I haven't seen like summers, like, because like it's really hard. You usually you have like, I don't know, maybe 4 days free in a month during that time, if you
Wow.
want to save as much money as possible to go through the winter without much problems. So yeah, it's kind of like I haven't seen any summers. So I took like summer months, like 3 months. I basically took them off. Did obviously a little bit coding here and there, but not much. So yeah, when the August was like, I think like last week of August, or like maybe in the middle of August, I started like the career prep. So then I did like the career prep, like I think like in 4 weeks or in 3 weeks or something like that. And then I started like actually building my portfolio website and like a couple of projects over there. So yeah, and that took me about, like, I would say, yeah, because I finished in the late of December, and because yeah, I learned like GSAP, other languages like Node.js for the backend. I really wanted to learn that, and
When did you start applying to jobs?
in the 1st of January,
1st of January.
yeah.
So you started a year before that. It took you like 6-7 months to complete the program. Then you spent like 5 more months doing some rendering work and saving some more money and completing your portfolio, your career prep. And then a year after you started, a year and a month is when you started applying to jobs, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's jump directly to that, because I know I want to hear more about your experience at Microverse as well. But I know that more often than not, people who join the Lunch and Learns, they want to hear about how did you find the job. So how did you find your job?
Well, it was like first of 3 days of this year, I just like went like full blast, applied for a job like top
How many?
like in those 3 days, I sent out like exactly 120 applications
Wow.
to companies. But throughout that time, actually having the job, like confirmation, I sent out uh, like I would say even more, like more than 100, even more. But through LinkedIn, like I went through there as well, and yeah, there were like, I thought like there was going to be a little bit more like, feedback in that sense. Okay, we're going to send you a test job or something. Yeah, there wasn't like many. There were like some, but yeah, overall you kind of have to, it's like a lot of times like people tell you that, and it's hard to believe like that at the beginning. I thought as well, okay, I'm just going to pick a company, send an application, and that's it. I'm going to receive a job, and like piece of cake. But
How many of the 120 companies responded to your application?
I would say like maybe response I got like from maybe, let's say like maybe 30 or 40, which is not bad at all in that
No, it's
sense.
a good number actually.
Yeah, but like positive, like the move on, I would say like maybe 10, maybe a little bit
10.
more.
10.
Yeah.
And was MediaMonk, the company you work for now, one of those companies?
Yeah.
And how did you connect with them particularly? Do you remember? Was it LinkedIn or directly from their website?
Yeah, directly through their website, like through top digital agencies in Europe. So yeah, I kind of like, I just started like doing like one trial project in one brake company, like which situated in Austria, Prague, and I did that. But over there, it kind of like I needed some input for that like project, but they didn't have time. So it was like exactly like Friday, and they said, okay, at that next week on Monday or Tuesday, they're going to provide what I needed. I don't exactly remember what it was, but yeah, I couldn't move on with the project. So, and like, I didn't like really, like, I wasn't like really excited about that company and in that sense, but yeah, it was like, okay, like when you start out, you know, you can't be really picky, especially if you're in my position, not in your early 20s, and you don't have a college degree and things like that. You know, even if they don't make, you know, even if they don't count for the employer, you in yourself still like kind of think that they do, even though. So I was like kind of okay, even like if I don't like really be excited about my first opportunity, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go in like full force and like try to get like the first 6 months, a year in, and then afterwards I'm gonna start like looking forward a better place when I'm already not so junior developer. But yeah, exactly on that Friday when this like kind of said that they're going to provide that input like next week on Monday or Tuesday, I went into my Gmail box and then I noticed like an email from MediaMonks, like, and they had already like link inside. Okay, this is like the try project what we want you to do. And I was like, okay, it was like their old Flash like website, their old like one, and I looked into it and I was like, okay, it looks like really cool project to do, like really like fancy.
You had to deal with Flash again or with more modern
No,
technology?
you're modern technology, just like
Okay.
kind of how it looked like. They had like a little video about their website. So yeah, then I first like went into their like website and I looked at company. I was like, okay. Then I noticed like, okay, they're like really big company and like they're really on top of the thing. And yeah, for me, that's why I took so much time off after Microverse, because I at first when I joined with Microverse, I was like, okay, I would really like to like, I don't know, maybe work in Google or Microsoft as well, like the first person here in Microverse like kind of ended up. So I was like as well like thinking that at least dreaming about it. But yeah, during the Microverse, I kind of understand it more and more that I really like animations and like interactive websites, and like then exactly like during like when creating my own portfolio website, then I understand it that those like companies usually are like digital agencies or something like that called like. So yeah, I even didn't know even where I want to work. Actually, kind of during the process of creating my portfolio, I found out like, okay, these are the companies where I would really like to work. So yeah, then I went through their website and I was at that, because I already had sent like many hundreds of applications, like my self-esteem was like grounded. So I was like, okay, I was like, never I'm going to get a job like from a company of this magnitude. I was like, nah, this ain't possible. I first thought like, okay, why do we even do the trial project if I'm not going to have the job anyway? Because I already like kind of had like one job, so I was like kind of thinking about that. But I thought like, okay, I don't have anything to do in the weekend anyway, like anything important. So I was like, okay. And the site looked like really cool. And they had like some extras that like do it in TypeScript and make it like responsive to mobile screens as well. And I was like, okay, like make it that it was like swipeable website. So like with side scrolling. So I was like, okay, it kind of looked like really fun project to do. So I just did it because of that. Obviously I did all the extras and everything and then sent the project, and I got like, I already like wrote in the email like, hey, I would like really like, I don't exactly remember the words, but I went already like I was like, okay, this is like exactly a company where I would like to work. So in the first email when I submitted my test project, I already like mentioned that I'm willing to work without like salary as well, like a couple months as an intern or something, because I looked kind of through the website and I was like, okay, this is exactly where I want to work. So yeah, I went went straight like that. But yeah, well, it didn't like mount to that I had to work without salary. So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, that little bit mirrors the feelings what I have like to working in this place. So it's truly a dream come true to me, I would say.
And that's amazing. Many people want to hear about salaries, and I won't ask for your salary, but I guess another way is like what are the salary ranges that a company like this in the Netherlands pays for like entry-level developers? What is the range?
Yeah, I don't know about that, because like when you kind of, I don't have experience in that sense at all. And obviously, like when you're like kind of stating that you're willing to work free, they're not gonna give, you don't have much, grounds afterwards negotiating your salary. So I didn't negotiate.
A good company, by the way, I've seen so many companies where people say that, which I don't recommend people saying that they want to work for free. Some people will take advantage of you, but the good companies will see that as a sign that you really want to work for them, and they won't care if you said I'm willing to work for free. They will offer you a salary that is at the level of what they pay to everyone else, because they want to be fair. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're a decent company that way.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm happy with the salary right now as it is, like when I'm starting out, because like I don't have like any problem with that at all. So it's all good in that sense.
Perfect. So part of the job was that you had to relocate, right?
Yep.
From Finland to the Netherlands.
No, well, during the Microverse, I moved back to Estonia.
Okay, cool. So how was the process of moving? Did they help you with that? Did they pay part of the expenses of moving?
Well, because I'm a junior developer, then they don't pay any like expenses regarding to moving. But yeah, they provided me their own apartment, like MediaMonks company apartment. I'm still right now in this apartment, moving to my own place during this weekend or in the start of next weekend. But yeah, they're kind of providing you the apartment. It's like 3 beds room apartment, like really, really big one. So, and during this COVID restriction times, they only can have like one person in one apartment.
Makes sense.
Yes. And I still have to pay only like you have to pay a little bit rent, but I still only have to pay like for one person. And I have the whole big apartment as my own.
That's cool.
And so yeah, it's kind of, it feels good, like because like when you're working in construction, you're not valued as much as you are here, and especially you're just a junior developer. Like I remember like my starting days as a construction worker. You don't get that. You don't get even anywhere near this type of treatment as you get.
So you feel like they treated you very well, even though you are a junior developer.
Yeah, definitely.
No, and I can tell Jack, we always talk about microverses, about like diamonds in the rough, these unpolished diamonds that, they might not look so shiny, but once you look closely, all the bright is there. And, I can recognize that in you, like your passion for, discovering your passion for animation, and then trying to find which companies are the ones who are doing the best work around animations, and discovering this kind of creative agencies. Like that tells me something that I'm sure your company was able to see. And when you find someone like that, like you want to invest in people like you, because like it's exciting, it's fun to work with people like you. It's amazing to see you like grow, and I'm sure they feel lucky. Even if you're a junior developer, I'm sure you have a long journey ahead of you that will be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like when I started out, like they were like a couple of like one person who I was like speaking with before like starting that company, like who was like my interviewer, like technical interviewer afterwards, and the person who was like kind of overseeing my progress here in this company, they're like, yeah, we have like high hopes regarding with you, so no pressure.
Did you feel, let me go in order. Did you feel imposter syndrome while you were going through Microverse at some point?
Yeah, a lot of times. It goes like, it goes like ups and downs because you have to like learn so much stuff, like so much different stuff. And during the span of like, I would say like pretty short time. And I've been away like, this like kind of like everyday learning, like being at school, like 10 years, and it took, because like it took like a little bit time to my brain actually to adjust again, like just learning new stuff every day. So I was like, at first I was like, first couple of weeks when I started like Microverse, I was like, Jesus, maybe my brain can't take it anymore or something. But it kind of it kind of got into the state as again, like when it was able to like take in a lot of new data every day. So yeah, it was hard.
Well, what was do you remember one of the hardest moments?
Well, Ruby on Rails was like hardest in that sense because it was like longest part of the Microverse, and it was like the backbone. But what was like the hardest thing to learn from start?
Or the hardest moment? It doesn't have to be a thing. Sometimes it's like something that has nothing to do with what you're learning. Maybe it has to do with what's going on in your life. Like, what was like the hardest moment, I guess, in that year?
Fortunately, I did have like, I would say almost like always like really good coding partners. So in that sense, it was like really great experience. But I would say still like being like behind the computer every day from 8 hours, like from what time, like, because for me it was like nighttime as well. Like I started like in the evening and I ended like 2 o'clock in the morning, so it was like hard.
So you were doing the Americans time zone?
Wow,
that's actually hard.
It was like kind of my rendering like season ended exactly in the start of October. So I was like, I took like some time off, like a couple of weeks. Then I like missed the start of October group. And then I was able to start in November, and like I gotta like notice that, okay, if I don't want to like participate in that time zone, I can wait like maybe a couple months. And I was like, no, I don't want to wait. I don't like care. I'm gonna start start the US time zone. At first, it wasn't like much, but I started like feeling the burden. Yeah, feeling the burden like in the Ruby on Rails part. Like then it like started to sink in, and even though like JavaScript and React, they were like, I would say, most fun to me, and they went like pretty fast, but they were like really, really, really hard because like I already like started lacking a lot of motivation, like just to be up. But I just pushed, and I was like, okay, just to get done everything before like June, like before summer months, and then I'm gonna take some time off and rest. And so I pushed through. I would say like for me it was like really hard overall, like especially like last 2 months. It wasn't the easy one, I would say. And
we always tell if anyone here today is listening to this and you're considering joining Microverse and you're considering joining in a different time zone than yours, it makes the program even harder. So like Jaak, I'm not surprised that you needed some time off after that. It's very intense by itself, and when you put it when you do it outside of your normal working hours, well, I feel you. So what was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
1000%.
Okay. what was like the most important thing that you think you got out of Microverse that is helping you today in your job?
I mean, like first when I started like the Microverse, actually before starting the Microverse, to me, like programming was like, you know, solo job. I mean, like, yeah, you're behind one computer and you're doing it alone, and but you don't have, if you don't have any real experience, you kind of think that's it. Like, but yeah, like that co-programming, like with somebody on live and this type, like it first scared me. And when you have like in that trial, you have like those first like free like small experiences, it kind of like opened up, okay, this is actually like really fun. And I'm like a little bit more like, I would say like that person as well. I like to do things alone, but yeah, you don't have, if you don't have the previous experience actually working with other people, you know, you don't actually know that it can be great.
Yeah.
Even more greater as well, because I always learn a lot of stuff from other people. And I mean, I always like kind of knew that if I'm willing to put a lot of work in, I have potential to be a programmer or software developer. But yeah, what Microverse kind of gives you the full package from start to finish. You get the like, you asked before, like what was the hardest part? I would say professional skills were the hardest part to me.
I'm so happy to hear that, because they are the hardest part. And so often we underestimate it, and we think that it's all about just learning to code, but it's actually so much more than just coding, right? It's like working with other people. It can be so hard, but so important, especially when you join a company that is doing complex projects for like big companies, like you're doing now. Like those skills are so important. Like who are some of the people that you work with? You know, are they all like developers? You work with designers, with project managers, product managers? You talk to clients. Like what does that look like today?
Well, I haven't yet had experience to talking with clients, but yeah, we're working like animators, like designers, project managers, like all types of like. Then you have like different type of software developers, like WebGL programmers, front enders, back enders. There's like all kinds. That was like I would say like the like most surprising like thing about like MediaMonks, that okay, now you see like how many different talents are like kind of involved to creating like those type of exciting projects. So yeah, it was like, okay, there's like, at first you think like, okay, there's gonna be like maybe a backend developer, and then there's gonna be a front end developer, and that's it basically. But yeah, then you come over here, there's like so many different talents like involved in creating like projects in that scale. Like
do you feel imposter syndrome at your job now every once in a while?
I mean, every day.
Good. That's a good feeling then.
But yeah, I would say like first 2 weeks were like especially hard, like really hard. I was like, I mean, they were like, I was definitely one of the hardest times of my life. And it wasn't like because like the company put pressure on me or anything like that. I was like kind of going through internally that I was like, whoa, because I was forced to learn. Everything was new again to me. So I was like, obviously your old skills, they matter a lot, because it's kind of like when I learned like React in Microverse, and I really enjoyed like coding React. I use like React after the technical curriculum as well, like a lot, and have a lot more experience now in React after Microverse. And it was like kind of okay, now I have to learn Vue, like. But it was like because they asked from me like, okay, which type of websites you would like to do more, platform websites or campaign websites. Like campaign websites, they're like single page, usually like a lot of animations, interactivity, WebGL and things like that. Platform websites are not so much. So I was like, yeah, I would definitely like to do like campaign websites. But yeah, because they're using otherwise like React as well. They're using like React in platform websites. So I was like, and I mean, they didn't mention that. I didn't ask that like that. But yeah, then okay, now I have to learn like Vue. Like maybe somebody could have gave me heads ups. But this type of like big companies, they're actually like they're willing to pay you while you're learning during your working hours. So it's not like I first came here, I thought like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna be fired tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I'm gonna be like realize that I can't, like, I'm not able to actually like provide any value right now to company. So first 2 weeks are like really hard, just going through how to work with Vue, how to use the Vue skeleton, like they call it, like the framework which they have built for those campaign websites, like Vue skeleton, which has like a lot of stuff inside. So it's like first it's like when I before like starting to use that Vue skeleton, I kind of like, you know, used like those small, like I mean Ruby on Rails is a big framework itself as well, like I would say. So it's similar to that one a little bit, but it's even like it has like a lot more stuff built in, because like the animations and things, like the specificity of those projects what they're building. So I was like kind of before joining with MediaMonks, I was like kind of, you know, driving around with a motor scooter, and then now I was like in the cockpit of like spaceship, and I was like, okay, what I'm supposed to do, like thousands of buttons, and I don't know any of them, like, so it was like really hard. First 2 weeks were like
first 2 weeks. Okay, so it didn't take you a year to learn. Well,
yeah.
it hasn't been a year. It's been just a few months. Are you much more comfortable now?
Yeah, definitely. Today, like obviously I'm not like, you know, like I would say like established software developer now, but I feel like comfortable now. Like
That's
I
great.
don't feel like, okay, I'm gonna be fired today or something
Yeah.
like that. At least not.
We always talk about this internally and externally at Microverse, that we are not trying to teach people Rails or React. We're trying to help people learn how to learn, because you will have to continue learning for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Even if after Microverse, you would have gotten to a company where all you had to do was React and, you know, some Ruby and Rails, probably at some point the company would have introduced some new library or new framework, or there's a new client or a new product. And sooner or later in your career, you need to start new programming languages, and you're not going to have, you know, a teacher or stuff like that. You need to be able to learn those things as you do the work, and it can feel intimidating, but that's why it's so important to learn, and not just like to learn one framework. Otherwise, you're going to be obsolete very quickly in your job.
Yeah, especially if you if you want to work any meaningful company, you kind of have to you kind of have to understand that. Yeah, obviously there's like companies who stay in their comfort zone, just, you know, making some margin with their projects, and that's it. And they don't want to like take new technologies, or at least as long as they're not exactly forced to take new technologies. But yeah, like any meaningful company, they always like try to be a little bit ahead of the future. I mean, you can't be ahead, but, you know, be ahead of the most people.
Of course.
And
I know most of the large companies, a lot of them that I talk to, they tell us like, you know, we don't care which language they know. We want them to be great, you know, team players, great communicators, and we want them to have strong foundations and be, you know, humble and have a lot of curiosity. Because if we are using Python, oh, we have an onboarding, you know, process to teach people Python. Whatever they know, you know, they can use that to learn Python. Or like, you know, the same. Some, you know, I was talking to a company doing functional programming, which is a completely like different paradigm, and, you know, they were saying, oh, don't worry, if they know other things, we're gonna teach them functional programming here. So again, what matters is, are you curious, open to learning, and, you know, eager to always learn new things? And I think that that's what counts. So I want to start with the questions here. Let's now go to the questions of the people who have joined the Lunch and Learn. Samir, who I think it's in India actually, is asking about, you know, in your case, you didn't need a visa because you were already in Europe, right? To go and work in the Netherlands. Do you know if they are hiring people who actually need a visa to work at your company?
Yeah, they hire all around the world.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. So they must be helping with the legal side. There are, in my experience, there are a lot of companies that will hire you and help you relocate. But I do think that we are in a unique moment in our history where remote work means that you don't need to do that. So if you want to live in other parts of the world as a life experience, you can. But if not, I think through remote work, you can work for companies like MediaMonks and so many other companies, no matter where you are. But I think, you know, going back to what Jaak said, what matters is can you show that you are an exceptional professional, and not just with your code, but also with your communication, with your passion. That's what's going to make a difference. So the visa is just, if you can avoid having to get a visa to work in a company, I think that's the best option.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think MediaMonks has one office in India as well. I'm not exactly sure, but I might be wrong, but I think they have office over there as well.
There is a lot of talent in India, so I wouldn't be surprised. And as the world, opens more and gets connected to remote work, we're gonna see that happening more and more. So try to get really good, international skills and there are so many, jobs right now. We are seeing in the last outcomes report that we published a few weeks ago, 95% of the people who complete the program are employed within 6 months right now. So, yes, there are jobs, and sure, some people end up working locally, but more often than not, that is because of financial pressure that you just need to get to the first job that you can. But if you're willing to go all in and you know exactly what you want, like in your case, Jaak, you knew you wanted like a top, like agency. I mean, you can get it. So, how long did it take you to get the job since you started applying to jobs until you started working? Well, until you get the offer, I guess.
Yeah, I got the offer. Like I started applying in 1st of January, and the offer I got exactly like in the middle of February. So it took me like 1 month and a half. But yeah, because I was like, I mean, like that time got shorter because like I really like used a lot of time to create my portfolio, and it was like really specific for that type of industry. So yeah, because I sent a lot of applications out into like normal web development companies as well, but I didn't get any like positive feedback from them. So it was like, yeah, that's why I got like, I would say a lot more feedback from interactive, like those companies which do like this type of websites.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, you don't need to get every job. You need to get one job that you love. And it's much better to optimize your portfolio for the kind of company that you want than trying to optimize it for everyone. And then you end up not optimizing for anyone. And so I think you did a great job, Jaak. And it's a super important insight for everyone else. Like, know exactly what you want to be doing and, go all in and optimize for that. So great. Okay, more questions. What were your portfolio projects like? What kind of project did you have, which were very specific to animation, I guess, but what did you have
there? I mean, I can share a link over here actually. Then like everybody can
Excellent.
watch. I think it should be that one.
Perfect, great. I think Zoom allows us to answer a question here. No, it doesn't let me do it anymore. But anyway, you have the link in the chat. Thank you for sharing that, Jaak. And I'm excited to take a look later. I'm sure it's amazing.
But yeah, I tried to like kind of get like, because I use like in my portfolio project, like Node.js as a backend. So first project, it has like one little database, and you can create users and register users. And it's like some just little database behind it that, okay, understand like user and how to keep their credentials, and a little bit like how to save like cookies and things like that. So then I have like one project where I created like canvas animation. So yeah, because I like animations. And then I have like one project from Microverse where we had that weather app. Then I have like one project which was like in the end of React. It was like I had like I created like a website where I connected with NASA APIs, like 3 different APIs, but I mean like they're pretty similar in that sense, and rendered from pictures on that website.
Cool.
And yeah, those were, because they're like pretty basic projects in essence, but yeah, like the portfolio project, it was like a lot of animations and things like that. So it took me like 2 months at least. I think.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Did you have any trouble with the English language in the program? This is a person from Brazil asking, and
Yeah, at first when I started out, I mean, I lived in Australia as well, like a few years ago, like about 8 months or 9 months or so. So yeah, during living in Australia, like because I've learned like English in school, and I wasn't like really bad. I understand like really well, but that's the case. Like when you don't use actually that side of like speaking with other people, you know, you think like, okay, I understand English like really well and can read and can hear and I understand like really well. But when you start speaking, you know, you actually notice like, okay, I'm not really good talker at all. You start mumbling the words and whatever. So yeah, when I first like started Microverse, I already knew that I'm gonna have that experience as well in the beginning, so a few weeks. So yeah, and it took like, I would say like 4 weeks, then my English like got, at least in that sense, I didn't anymore like feel like really uncomfortable with speaking other people. Obviously I'm not like fluent and my English isn't perfect, but yeah, I can at least like, you know, communicate in that way that I don't feel like really uncomfortable inside, like, okay, what I want to say always and things like that. So yeah, your English will definitely get better, or your like professional skills throughout Microverse. These are like, they give a lot of value. You don't even like see that you're going to get that thing in Microverse, but afterwards when you're like going through Microverse, you're okay, this is all extra, like. So yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
we insist a lot on that. And
yeah.
by the way, yeah, I will say you are very fluent in English. And I wish we could like go back in time and do this same webinar, but with the Jack of a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I would love to continue
Oh,
your English. That
oh.
would be so cool.
Because yeah, like first day when we started like Microverse, I was like, oh my, I like, you had to like, you know, say where you come from and things like that. And I still feel the feeling what I felt during. I don't want to be first, not because I'm like, you know, I'm not bold enough or anything, but I was like, okay, my English is so bad. I don't want to be the first to start out. Like, so it was like, yeah, it was like really uncomfortable at first, but through like, you know, just talking with other people, because you have like two meetings, one in the early morning and one in the after the work day, after the day in Microverse, and you kind of, you find, usually, you know, you stay speaking. We, at least we in our team, like in our stand-up team, we ended up sometimes speaking like 2 hours, like
Whoa,
in the end of the day. So yeah, my English got like really good at that
that's
time. I
amazing.
would say even it's a little bit more rusty right now, because we don't speak so much over here like we used to speak. Because over here it's more like you're writing your English through Slack, like the
Yeah.
communication is through Slack. We have like meetings as well in the day, but it's kind of like, you know, because I'm a junior developer, I don't speak too much, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Not yet, but the time
Yeah,
will
not yet.
come
Yeah,
for English and
yeah,
communication skills to shine. And I mean, written communication is probably one of the most important skills for a remote worker, because so much happens in Slack, Twist, email, documentation. Documenting things in a remote setting, it's so important. So
yeah.
practicing writing is so important. So let's finish with one last question, and I think it's a really important one, which is what or who helped you overcome the difficult moments during the Microverse program?
Yeah, well, obviously our team, and like sometimes when you feel, and we especially at the beginning, we were like really strong team, like always on time, long like in the end of the day meetings and things like that. So we gave a lot of support to ourselves, and we had like this type of healthy competition as well, like, and so it was like really good teamwork for us. But I would say when starting out career prep, yeah, like Jennifer Best was like my career coach. She kind of, when I felt like really low, she kind of like pulled me up again, and
Uh,
you know, so yeah, it was like really good overall. I would, because yeah, I would say like, I was like a little bit, because when you end like your technical part of the Microverse, you still like a little bit inside, you feel like you're lost now again, because now you actually have to start learning a job. Before that, you had like, okay, next you have to learn this and do that. Next you have to learn this and do that. But when you start learning a job, you're kind of like, you know, you're the bird now in the nest, like ready to fly. But it's like kind of, you don't know exactly where to fly or what to do, or if you even can fly. So yeah, Jennifer like really helped me during those times, and being still motivated, and you know, not feeling like, you know, because yeah, in that time, like when you're starting actually looking for the first job, the imposter syndrome kind of like kicks in a lot. So yeah, and Microverse helps a lot with that.
Thanks for sharing that. I know that a lot of people go through a hard time, you know, motivation-wise, when applying to jobs and having to handle so many rejections, or companies not even replying to you. I'm sure like hearing your story, like a lot of people will appreciate it, will motivate them. And I also know that Jen will be very happy to know that she helped you. Jen is amazing, and I'll send her a message, and I'll make sure that she watches your words. She will appreciate that. Cool. So we are at the end, so we have to like say goodbye, and we still have, I think, like 11 questions that we didn't get to answer. Jaak, how can people get in touch with you? Like, do you use like LinkedIn or Twitter or something, or you're not like much into social networks like that?
Yeah, I would say I have like Twitter account that I created during like Microverse that, but I think I have like 4 followers over there and 1 tweet or something. But yeah, I use LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to reach me through LinkedIn, they can do with the name what I have over here. So I think it should be.
I come prepared to this thing. So I have your LinkedIn link here. Can I share it in the chat?
Yeah, of course. Because yeah, I don't use anything else actually. I have Twitter account and other social media accounts as well, but I only use LinkedIn.
Excellent. So just before we say goodbye, any piece of advice that you want to give to people who are starting their careers, who are considering joining Microverse, like through another way, trying to become developers? What will you recommend them?
Yeah, I would say definitely, like if you're someone like me, you know, working job what you don't like really like to do, even if you're like a little bit older than me, like, you know, early 30s, and you're like thinking, okay, can I do it or can I not do it? I would say definitely give a try, and everything what you're lacking in talent, you can even out with just working more than other people. And yeah, for me, like Microverse is a dream come true. It hasn't been easy, but yeah, if you're willing to put the work in, good things will finally come to you. So yeah, definitely, like if you're thinking about joining Microverse, I would say definitely do it. Go after it. Even if it won't work out in the end, I mean, that's possibility as well. And I took that chance as well. But otherwise, you're going to end up, you know, bitter inside if you don't try it at least. So yeah, I would say definitely go after it. If you're feeling the same way, you're going, because I was like in between. Even if I was ending the Microverse, I kind of felt, did I even do the right decision? Like, you know, marks kind of show that, okay, I can do it actually. But, you know, if you're actually, until you have landed your first job, you're kind of, you know, you're still not thinking that you can do it. And even though being now in here, having the first job in this big company of the world, I still feel same feeling some days, I would say. I don't want to say like daily, maybe that's too much, but let's say
often.
There's some, yeah, often, still often. So that's nothing wrong with it. And yeah, whatever you're missing in talent, you can make it even with just putting some more hours in. And if I can do it, everybody else can do it as well, if they really go after it.
Thanks for saying that. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate it. And thank you so much for making the time to share your story with everyone else.
Thank you, Ariel. I always like wanted to thank you creating. I know nowadays there's like a lot of like, you know, mock-ups about like Microverse at some way. At least to me, you were the first one, and thanks for at least like creating the industry of that type of boot camp. So yeah, I'm really happy that I found Microverse, and really I really appreciate it that you kind of have created like this type of boot camp. So thanks a lot to you, because I already, like, if I'm pretty honest, I started looking into boot camps when I was 25, but they were in USA, or they were in some minor parts in Europe, but you had to be like physically over there, you had to pay beforehand and things like that. So they were not like really an option to me. So yeah, when I found like Microverse, to me it was like, I'm not good with, luck with buying lottery tickets and things like that. So that definitely felt to me like winning a jackpot.
And that's why I started Microverse, to make sure that it wasn't to create another bootcamp, it was to create a model of education that actually works for people who are not the typical people, in developed countries, or, in the West. And, so I'm glad that we found you, Jaak. And again, thank you so much. We're gonna stop now because I know it's late for everyone, but it was a real pleasure to have you. And I'm really excited to keep following, your journey as you go through it. Okay, thanks a lot to you. And bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Bye. Bye.